Good evening, everybody. This is your favorite aspiring classicist here, a wandering author, reminding you that we are all the authors of our own lives. As always, my message remains the same: spend less, live more, earn your freedom with frugality. And today I've got a good question for you guys. Does a man owe his father unlimited respect? That's a tough one to answer, but Aristotle's going to do his best in chapter 2 of book 9 of the Nicomachean Ethics. So let's get started. And he opens it up with the question that I just asked. Other questions that may be arised are such as these. Does a man owe his father unlimited respect and obedience? Or ought he, when ill, to take the advice of a physician? So should you listen to a doctor? And when electing a general, to vote for the best soldier? And similarly, ought he to do a service to a friend rather than to a virtuous man? So are you obligated to your friend before you are to virtue? And ought he to repay his obligation to a benefactor or creditor rather than make a present to a comrade or friend when he is not in a position to do both? Now, perhaps with all these matters, it is not easy to lay down an exact rule, because the cases vary indefinitely in importance or unimportance, and in nobility or urgency. So Aristotle's pretty straightforward here. He says it's hard to make a general rule for all these cases. But it is quite clear that no one person is entitled to unlimited consideration, and that goes for your parents too. As a general rule, one ought to return services rendered rather than to do favors to one's comrades. So you should try to pay back people that are doing things for you rather than giving money to your friends, just as one ought to pay back a loan to a creditor rather than give money to a friend. So creditors before friends in Aristotle's world. Yet perhaps even this rule is not without exceptions. For example, suppose one has been ransomed from brigands, which are like pirates. Ought one to ransom one's ransomer in turn? Is it okay for you to ransom the person who ransomed you, whoever he may be? Or even if he has not been captured himself, but asks for his money back, ought one to repay him? Or ought one to ransom one's own father? For it might be thought to be a man's duty to ransom his father even before himself. As a general rule of thumb, as has been said, one ought to pay back a debt. So try to pay your bills. But if the balance of nobility or urgency is on the side of employing the money for a gift, so if giving the money as a gift is more noble, then one ought to decide in favor of the gift. So let your bills go unpaid. For there are occasions when it would be actually unfair to return the original service. As for instance, when A has done B a service, knowing him to be a good man, and B is called upon to return the service to A, whom he believes to be a bad man. For even when A has lent B a loan, B is not always bound to lend A a loan in turn. So just because somebody lends you money doesn't mean that you're obligated to lend them money back. Again, in Aristotle's world. A may have lent the money to B, who is an honest man, expecting to get his money back, while B would have no hope of recovering from A, who is a rascal. If A is really a rascal, the return he asks for is not a fair one, and even if A is not a rascal but people think he is, it would not be deemed unreasonable for B to refuse. So, if you're assumed to be uncreditworthy, it would not be unreasonable to refuse loaning money to somebody, even if you loaned money to them or if they loaned money to you previously. Hence, as has been frequently remarked already, discussions about our emotions and actions only admit of such degree of definiteness as belongs to the matters with which they deal. So, in the beginning of Aristotle's Nicomachean Ethics, like book 1 or 2, I forget exactly, he says that with matters of like social conduct, kind of like what we might call a soft science today, you don't have to be totally precise, because the matters you're dealing with are kind of fuzzy. They change, and each case is a little different from the other. It is quite clear, therefore, that all people have not the same claim upon us, and that even a father's claim is not unlimited, just as Zeus does not have all the sacrifices. Since the claims of parents and brothers, comrade and benefactor, are different, we ought to render to each that which is proper and suitable to each. So we should only give what's suitable to our parents, what's suitable to our brothers, what's suitable to our friends, what's suitable to our creditors. And this is in fact the principle on which men are observed to act. This is how people actually act. They invite their relatives to a wedding because they are members of a family, and therefore concerned in the family's affair. Also, it is thought to be specially incumbent on relations to attend funerals for the same reason. It would be felt that our parents have the first claim on us for maintenance, since we owe it to them as a debt, and to support the authors of our being stands before self-preservation in moral nobility. So, supporting our parents stands before self-preservation and moral nobility. But honor also is due to parents, as it is to the god, though not indiscriminate honor. So you need to be wise with giving your parents honor. One does not owe to one's father the same honor as to one's mother, nor yet the honor due to a great philosopher or general. But one owes to one's father the honor appropriate to a father, and to one's mother that appropriate to her. Again, we should pay to all our seniors the honor due to their age by rising when they enter, offering them a seat, and so on. So respect your elders. Towards comrades and brothers, and remember, Aristotle's not a Red Revolution guy here. He's talking about comrades as in like a close friend, or somebody that's in a trade association with you. Like basically, if you're in a union together, is probably a good way to think of it. So towards your union brothers and actual blood brothers, on the other hand, we should use frankness of speech and share all our possessions with them. So he's pretty liberal with giving out his stuff. Kinsmen also, fellow tribesmen, fellow citizens, and the rest, to all we must always endeavor to render their due, comparing their several claims in respect of relationship and of virtue or utility. Between persons of the same kind, discrimination is comparatively easy, but it is a harder matter when they are differently related to us. Nevertheless, we must shirk the task on that account, but must decide their claims as well as we are able. And that's it for chapter 2 of book 9. Book 9. We're already on book 9. There's only one more book to go, so we're getting really close to the end. What are y'all doing in order to inspire, uplift, and empower your local community today? Because this world isn't changing unless we all do our part, and you can count on me to do mine daily. Until next time, I love y'all.